Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just three issues for decision that I'll be requesting your consideration for approval at next week's Tuesday's meeting. The first one is actually the authorizing us to exercise options for renewing the unarmed uniform security guard services. This contract was awarded last year, and the first base year was about 798,000 in June 30. Of course, because of the storm, typhoon, call it a storm, typhoon Mawar, uh, the we couldn't bring this before the CCU for an extension of the options for the next 2 year for the next two 1 year options. So I extended it to from for July 1st to September 30 under the $1 million limit that I have, and that totals about 998,000. So really, the resolution before you now is to ask for the remainder of the first year option and the second year option for the total of 2.3, about 2396736 for unarmed uniform services for the next actually 2 years period. So I don't see really any advantage right now at this point for a new bid on this. We've had this bid before; they've been very competitive and they have served us satisfactorily, even throughout the storms and everything. So that's the first resolution, and that's resolution 2023-22. So open to
Questions, Commissioners?
questions.
Just real quick, JB, how many total personnel is covered under the contract? How many total guards?
This covers all. I think if I remember correctly here, Cabras Power Plant, T&D, diesels system, and all of that. So it's
And
all
that's
the
24/7.
yes, 24/7.
So three shifts basically.
Three shift plus the again. Yeah, and I think Jigo also is covered with this. I can get that all.
I just want to know how.
information.
I'm just trying to figure
Yeah.
out like what's the total per man.
So it's
per
all
guard,
really
basically.
our critical facilities, not substations, not other things, just the power plants and.
That's it.
Good. All right. Next.
Resolution 2023-23 related to approval for purchase of bucket trucks. Again, I'm seeking your approval to purchase 6-inch 55 footers and 4-inch 65 footers. We currently own about 27 trucks, and again, it's our essential to day-to-day operations for T&D because 98, like more like 99 plus now of the system is all concrete poles, and that's all we use to work on them. No, during Typhoon Mawar, the 25, 27 served us well. Plus, we had brought in some additional ones, so we had 20 to 30 bucket trucks running in one time. No, understanding that more storms may be in the way, understanding that there could be some improvement if I had some more trucks, more especially early on in the process. I believe I thought the 25 trucks would have been adequate for us, but now I'm thinking more like the 35 to 40 trucks. And there's another reasoning for that. I can always, as shown by this, the work under Typhoon Mawar, we were able to bring in linemen from other areas. The key to bringing in linemen is having the trucks available, because it is very difficult even in this day and age to bring in bucket trucks. Like it took FEMA a little bit of time to first source it and then secondly fly it in on those Antonov, no? But even the Antonov now is only 4, the smaller one. The big one was damaged in Ukraine, right? So we could have used some more trucks early. DOD did lend us a few for a period of time. So again, I think it's appropriate really that we do stock have bucket trucks here to be ready, no, for the next time. So again, I think it'll be somewhere in the $4.5 to $5 million range, but we can fund this all of our CIP things. How do we procure this? We're still working with FEMA. We're going to discuss this with FEMA. If there's ways that we can prepare to them, eligible for funding or other things from them, or go through the process to bring it. But I need your authority and the PUC's authority to go ahead and proceed on this process. No?
I just got a question. What's the difference between a 55-foot reach and a 65-foot reach? That's 10 feet.
Yeah.
Why not buy 10 65-foot reach?
Yeah, the 65 allows us to work even on the monotubes. No?
Yeah.
We have the 120 actually to work on the lattice plus more difficult places further away from the monotube. The 55, of course, is more versatile because you can for the lower transmission and the distribution. So then you're able to maneuver more, because sometimes too long makes it less mobile, no? So that's so the team, actually I was saying 1055, so they asked for about 465 so that they can, right now most of our fleet is 55. So,
Maybe did you say that you could not fund it through CIP funds?
no, we
You
could fund it.
Okay,
Yeah.
because it says here
Yeah.
revenue funds, right?
Yeah.
Because you mentioned going through, like,
I guess when
looking
we
to
say
FEMA.
revenue funds, we talk about revenue or, from the debt service coverage. At the end of the year, we have that cash that we use for CIP programs. So that's the funding that we're looking at. 'Cause
Maybe
we won't take
And a
this out.
possibility
Yeah.
of
Yeah, and if FEMA can do it, then it's sort of like from whatever bucket you can.
Yeah.
Or if
What
FEMA
about-
can work us to get in the front of the line on some of this project because, delivery could be 2 years from now, but we're going to ask them to see if through their process they allow us to help us to get to the front of the line on some of these places to get this.
Yeah. What about the 9 trucks that were on loan from FEMA? Those are not available.
No, I don't think they want to sell it to us. I think yeah.
We're asking for the FEMA supplied lease to own trucks to see if there's an option to purchase. The 2 of those trucks were actually on loan from NAFAC Hawaii, and so those need to be returned. And then we had 3 trucks that FEMA had not delivered, so we're asking for possible lease purchase from that lease to own contract. And then Snohomish brought in their 2. Those are going back, and then CUC has 1 bucket truck here, and that has to be returned.
Yeah.
Redundancy even with bucket truck.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So I think once we get to that level, I think everybody will. Yeah, because we can only do so much from what we have done, no? But we can improve it a little bit more, no? By having that stuff. So.
And I remember JBS talking based on that electronic vehicle or the EV show that we went to, that there are some hybrid bucket trucks that run partially on
Yeah.
battery as opposed to PTO. Are you gonna even bother going through that, or are you just looking for the lowest cost option to get the trucks you need?
I think what I'm trying to do is look for the lower cost options. No? Yeah, if we have some already that we bought 2, I believe, that is the electric PTO, and then we were gonna start going to electric vehicles and stuff. But I think the delivery times of those are much longer. So I think what we would need even more is really even the basics, the chassis with the lift and everything. No need for the compartments and all of that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. But again, if there's opportunity, whatever's out there, if they already have that combination, then that would be one. So we can open it up to that. But I'm trying to get more the basics as soon as we can, to be, because that's all we need, on a regular basis, to serve us at this point. And then what we have done is buy compartments as necessary, if we need it, but at least have that. So it's just I need going to request your approval on the PUC so that I can move forward and see what options we can get some here as soon as we can.
What is the oldest of the 27? What is the oldest truck you have? What year?
Some I think are 10 to around the 10-year period already.
Yeah.
Because we did buy, remember, over the past, I would say over the past 7 years, we've been buying almost 4 trucks per year. And then we've been retiring older. Before that, we had everything old. But we've been buying for the past several years, 4 per year. And that's really, and that helped in the fleet because, trucks will go down, right? But at least in this time we had a few, but we were able to keep 20 to 30 running in any one time. So we had new ones, and we can get that number up there. Last one, Mr. Chair, is FY 2023-24. And again, this is for your approval to procure a hot section exchange and a generator repair for Jigu CT. Jigu combustion turbine is 20 megawatts. It was running before the storm. After the storm, it didn't run anymore. Part of it is actually we were going to do a regular an overhaul of the generator. So we started. We knew there was a ground. We started doing the work, and we find out that there is a ground of the rotor. The rotor has to be shipped off island to be repaired and then come back. In the meantime, they can prepare the generator. In the meantime, they did check the combustion turbine side, and on the hot hand side, there are some cracks in it. I think it could still run, but it'd be limited and all of that. So the best thing to do really is to go ahead and have a hot end exchange while they're doing the overhaul for this machine. So this is where the total for hot exchange is about 1.8, and the generator balance of repairs and everything will be about 1.5. So total of 3.3 million to get the Jigu CT back on the line. And again, it may take as much as 4 months to get this back, but so if we had, right now we've been load shedding. Part of that reason is not having dedicated to 20 megawatts. So we were doing fine, trying to get into the point where the Okudu power plant came on the line. We knew we had some lower than reserve units, and really was necessary for reliability, but we were working to make that happen. But now this is a big blow to us, so we need to get it back as soon as we can. Too late for August, September, but I think before next year, and again probably the following year, because as we look, I'll be talking with the Okudu group pretty soon. But that's the delayed, maybe as late as the end of 2025. No? So that could be. So we need as much capacity. The AGMO and I are looking at ways to try and get all the other diesels up. We're still subjected to protests, and again another protest in the Jigu diesel bid. So we're trying to figure that out. And then, not only that, maybe we're going to have to bring in some capacity because that's 2 years away. Maybe have to see whether the federal government or so, I'm going to be talking to some of these people and see if there's any way we can bring in either temporary capacity or new capacity that we can use long term, because, our generators are not spring chickens anymore. they're about 30-some years already. Or our combustion turbines, they do 1 and 2, Chigu CT, the Cheche, they were put in the 1992, 30 years ago.
The protest is impacting the Greco units, the former Greco units?
Yep. We did it once, and then protest, that was about a year and a half. We began running it ourselves, but again, it's still difficult to get in the repairs and all of that. So we went out again, and then again, we're getting close to opening the price, and another several protests. So we're in typically the same people.
So no, there's no capacity coming from the former Greco units at all?
Only about 10 megawatts right now. So that's a 40 megawatts, so we're gonna have to, so we're trying to figure out how we're gonna,
They're each 1 meg?
doing,
They're each 1 meg
They
units?
were the original.
Yeah, so there's
So
about,
there's 30 units now?
yeah, 30 units over the past 2 or 3 years, no? We've been able to keep it up there, but then with the loss of a Greco, and trying to get a PMC, again, a lot of it is getting the technicians and the expertise and the parts and everything. So we're looking at different angles right now. We gotta do something because, right now we have 234 megawatts and our peak is 220 some. So that's why we're in this position of load shedding, no?
Yeah.
And
How many hours were on the GPA CT before it went down?
about
we
12
recently
12,000 hours.
12,000?
Yeah. Usually about 30,000 hours, but yeah, it went down before that. But part of it also could be you're saying is this proximity to all the Jiguro diesel units impacts probably the air input into it, impacting the combustion turbine. But we don't really know that.
Is Jigo the one that we recently put online, or the
No,
most recent CT was
we did order one combustion turbine for Machechi.
Machechi?
Yeah, but it's not. We're still waiting for it to come. But the Machechi is running because we're only running it for emergency because it does have some racks also that have to be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been running it right now. So if it comes out, right, we're trying to expedite the combustion turbine to get here so we can just replace it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at what alternatives we have for more capacity, and I'll be asking around and seeing, and I may have to come back and say, okay, I'll figure out how to. So still looking at it. Won't be ready probably for another 2 weeks or so. Probably by the next meeting.
Ask you a crazy one, John.
Yeah.
What about Calvers?
3 and 4. Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah. No, it's just like Tango 1. They're all 2 months already done, and then we've let them sit already. So we'll figure out. One of the quickest will be bringing in maybe a 20 megawatt, 40 megawatt combustion turbine, things like that. No? So, but we have to figure out where we'll reside it, all of those different things.
When you planned the 40 megawatts down at,
Yeah.
that was what, taking out 3 and 4, or somewhere down in our...
That was for again to help once Okudo come on the line. Yeah.
I'm just curious, how were you gonna... Where was that supposed to...
Oh, next to the tanks.
So can you put this new capacity that you're looking down at Calvert? That's what I
Yeah,
was thinking.
that's what I was.
It's permitted.
I'm considering that because at least they have the authorized that law, no? I'm considering maybe getting 40 megawatts or more or whatever and putting it. The good thing about that is right next to the storage tanks.
You got
Because
everything.
even if I put another 20 or 40 somewhere else,
You gotta
we still run the issues of
run the energy.
5,000 gallon trucks, right?
Yeah.
It's 1 hour of operation. See,
Put it down at
for
Calvert.
40. So
What would be the reasons not to put new, temporary capacity or mobile capacity, why wouldn't you put it at Cabot?
Well, I just have to work with EPA on the permitting. That's the biggest thing, because then they wanted an offset between there and PD 8 and 9, so that would be the only thing. But again, we'll work on it, but that's
You're looking at it.
looking what's close to a fuel oil storage source, or maybe replace, put in a position where it can replace and retire something else in the future.
Right, something more, yeah.
But I think I'll be a little more. I mean, waiting a year, year and a half, you know. But now 2 years, 2 year and a half, I think
The risk.
there's a bigger risk. We don't want to stay in this mode of operation and the machines. So
The
yeah.
other generator produces 68, 60 megawatt.
No, the Yokodo will be 198 megawatts plus 25 megawatt of batteries. Yeah. The 25 megawatt is just actually for less than an hour, about an hour, less than an hour. But that's just for frequency control.
And then the only other thing that, may emerge, right? So there's been some discussion in the community that I've been involved with about, the hardening of
Right.
distribution, right? And the assumption was, hey, generation side, we're good. You got Ukudu, you're putting in solar, you're trying to get a 180 meg battery. We never thought that generation was something that, Marwar exposed, the risks, right? And now the delays expose the risks. So in seeking, the DOD's interest might be in hardening for sure, right? And when you harden distribution, you not only you fix things like energy, you fix telecom, you fix water wells, but maybe for the first time we can, what about assisting us on the generation side for reliability? So that it's not just a distribution ask, it's a distribution with some generation ask, right? So maybe that, and I think we're all saying the same thing. Let's look for as many possible sources of funding that we can to ensure reliability.
You're correct, and the generation can be there for years to come. There will be
Growth.
part of the battery system and everything to ensure reliability, Because we have the capacity, and we've been over the years keeping going.
They're aging.
However, they are all aging. So if we're putting in something, it's not offense that to think about putting that in. So we will start discussing that with them. I wanted to at least inform the commission that this is kind of where we are, and we're thinking of how to get ourselves out of this scenario. And so we're just getting out of the restoration period and getting into, hey, we better do something as soon as we can. So
Just have one more, John. Can you just, by Tuesday, share with us the names of the protesters? I just want to know who these people are, so they're the same ones that are calling us, hey, I need my power connected. Remind them that, you'll be at the end of the line if you're going to be the ones protesting. We're trying to improve the system.
Yeah.
They can't have the cake and eat it at the same time.
yeah, I can give a summary of public record, who are they, and all the protests and everything. But again, it's the same old thing, is we're stuck dead in the water again, on the scenario. And we did ask Senator Parrish for, and I'm not sure where that bill is, to allow us. Right now, it's we can win the battles, but we're going to lose the war. We can not accept it, but know that we are going to lose the war, because we go to the OPA, we will win the battle, right? But then what do? They take us to Superior Court, and that we have no control when the court. We don't have control of anything, but the timelines for that process through the court, it takes a long time, and then by that time, the bidder is going to say, no, I cannot give it to you anymore at that price. So then what happened?
With the solar.
Happened with the solar farm. So we have to go through the
Plus
whole process again,
protest.
right? And then, so if bidders, the way it is now is that if bidders
Can't act.
can delay, because there's no real criteria of, okay, if the bid is this much different, or the bid is really a technical, there's no criteria to evaluate whether the protest has some merit or not. It could be meritless, and then it goes through the process. Oh, it's not merited in the OPA, not merited in the Superior Court. Start the process again. We're in a plan for failure. No?
So is I know the bill has been drafted, it's with Senator Perez, but it hasn't been introduced yet?
It had a public hearing, right? Yeah, the one that working with Senator Perez for on the having the, at least if it goes through the OPA, we after that we can proceed with the award.
Right. I do not believe that the bill that Graham submitted to the legislature had a public hearing yet. I don't believe it's been introduced. But prior to Typhoon Mawar, we were working with Senator Parrish. She was very receptive regarding certain procurement laws. So we just have not yet reconvened. But we were looking at protests specifically and how to also fast track some procurement where grant money is available.
Well, let us know. I mean, nothing happens till the bill's introduced. So at a minimum, you got 3 accents that, at least can encourage her to move. But you guys can do it too. But yeah, let us know if you're stuck. I don't understand. The easiest thing to do in the legislature is introduce the bill. But nothing happens until you do it. So at least get it introduced, and then we'll have the hearings, and people can beat it up. But that's the first step. So let us know if you need help. But otherwise,
With the current situation, though, it might be a good time to go to Senator Perez and say, hey, this is the current situation. Could we?
What do you need from us? Can you introduce?
Tack it onto the budget.
Yep, we have several cases in point already.
Well, I think you learned that from us, though, right?
Okay, you can get back to us on that and tell us.
Yep.
Yeah, we really need help. Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
we
a couple
can
of phone
get
calls. Yeah.
Right?
Okay, and last but not least, I got 2 reports for you today. The regular GM report, which I can just say we defer, or the second report is just a quick update on the storm activities. No?
Yeah.
Yep. I don't have the pointer, so I will just. Yep.
Yeah, right there, John. Yeah. Is that a
Oh,
pointer?
this one. All right, thank you. Typhoon Mawar. I'm sorry, and look how big that thing is, and we all know that was a lot of water. No?
Yeah, it was a lot.
Okay, next. Here's the process up to 1 o'clock on that Wednesday. We were still generating power, about 70%. Then all of a sudden, that's when I guess the much stronger winds came in, and we dropped all the way down to 7 megawatts. 7 megawatt to combustion turbine to Anderson Air Force Base was didn't lose any power, didn't lose their power, at least the underground system, So we went through the storm without, with this 150 mile per hour storm without losing the whole system. That's the first time for this type of wind speed. And here's our recovery process, of course, and as you can see, even we got back to about, as far as the demand, let me see, we were up, I think it's another page that will show, but again, the point here is we were able to, as a result of this, we were able to immediately get, after the storm, immediately get Tumon Bay underground and the hospital back onto the system and then continue. So we were able to, as a result of having some capacity generation on the line, we were able to get our get the recovery really jump start. No, next. Here's our recovery process. As you can see, that as of the here the 15th of June. Where is the 15th? Right around here. We had about over about 60% of our customers back But that's within the first 3 weeks, no? And all of that. And against the process took longer and longer as it came to it. But as of today, we have over the 99%. There's not many customers at all, if any, are calling in anymore. So we're now in the recovery of the street lights, the main roads. They'll be sweeping the villages, even from the south on up and everything, to get the street lights back. I think we had about 10 to 15% of our street lights that have to be recovered. Of course, we do have the inventory to do that, no? Likely damage, about 25 to 35 more around here. This is our preliminary damage. We're almost about 10% close to where we were before in terms of demand. There are some homes that are not coming back. So we'll show you later, about 1,500 homes had weatherhead problems and all of that. We took care of about 900 of them. There's still about 600 out there that are, again, for those that are, once they're repaired, we will put them back on. No additional charge or anything like that. Estimated loss, maybe $7 to $8 million so far in terms of revenue. Which is not bad. That's about a little more than half a month's revenue. And again, our coverage, it looks like we're still going to make our coverage despite the loss, because we're back to next.
John, I have a question.
Yeah.
John Kim, are we going to claim on our insurance policy? What about business interruption? And on the self-insurance fund, where are we at on that? Are we gonna tap any of that?
Oh yes, we're gonna add that. We didn't receive the invoices from the Washington State. Once those come in, we'll be using those self-insurance to pay for those.
And then we'll get reimbursed by FEMA.
Yes, reimbursed. Yes. So we've been working with FEMA to do the thing together. So we have a meeting with them on a weekly basis. And they are stationed in Guam, so we'll be coordinating on what's the best method.
So what is your best estimate on possible recovery in terms of, well, on some of the T and DC, right? I mean, even if FEMA's it's still 75% recovery, or?
I heard it's 90-10 now, I think.
90-10?
Yeah.
That's what we're thinking.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Mr. Butcher,
Yeah.
if you wish, there's a meeting at 3:30 today, if you're able to join us, or if any
For what?
colleague wants to join us. We're meeting with a FEMA representative that the governor asked us to meet with.
Yeah, that's the meetings they're having is on the cost.
Right.
The one you're saying today is really on looking at is their way of mitigation costs. No?
Right.
So that's what
So we're talking to FEMA at
Yeah.
many levels, right? And I'm aware of one meeting that I was gonna, where,
It'd be nice of you guys to share that. Why am I hearing it from the commissioner?
well, in fairness to them, Mr. Chair, the governor sent me a note, hey, you need to meet with this person, and then sent me this note. And I don't meet with anybody from FEMA without bringing the team in, so.
I would expect, right, and the plan is actually August to be providing a report on
Right.
what really happened, what we're gonna do, and quality after action, and how, because I'm more interested, John, I mean, when we have a revenue loss, you know, we're tapping into the self-insurance fund. You're gonna need to give us details.
Yes.
That affects your bond.
Yes. The part of the requirements is when you do the self-insurance drawdown, anything below above 2.5, yes. So all this.
Again, I just want to know the amounts.
Yes,
But
yes.
you guys, I don't worry about the details.
Yeah.
That's
Yes, yes. We haven't drawn down from the self-insurance fund yet. We've been using our
Working
regular
capital.
funds. But once because the expenses from the fully covered.
What about, okay, what about,
Yes,
same thing, right? It's all, we're all gonna lump it into.
part of the expenses. We paid already. Haven't received invoice from pay yet. Once we do, we'll pay that. Those are manageable.
Well, and that's the whole purpose of the self-insurance fund,
Right,
right?
was for that.
Yeah,
That's just
right.
in case.
And the one agency I never worry about with FEMA reimbursement, they know what to do, they've been doing it, they know it better than anybody.
The other thing is we're drawing out from our inventory, so the replacement yet to come, and then all the other damages that were on that 25 million, and we're preparing the bids to go out now for the correction of that, and then that will start to. So what is drawing down in costs right now is basically labor, and yeah, once the know all this bills come, then we start paying them off as soon as we get.
On your estimates, you'll give us a breakdown on the
Yeah.
TV?
Yep, we have we'll do that in the August meeting, because, yeah, this is a brush through, and then in the August meeting, we're gonna try and give a comprehensive breakdown and everything, and get all the detail.
I mean, I know we have active property casualty. Are you getting a bid on T&D just for purposes of discussion, or it wasn't asked?
No, on the bid, right, we always included T&D because it's kind of
What's expensive? 25 million?
yeah. Well, the process.
I'm gonna throw it out, right?
Yeah, yes.
If we're gonna spend 25 million,
Yes.
and the insurance policy is 10 million, my math is telling me buy T&D.
Yes. One of the things is
What if
that.
the deductible is 15?
Well, no,
Yeah,
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
The
Deductible.
question, we
I
built
think,
the 50 million to ourselves because we were not getting coverage, but
I think in the past, nobody wanted to cover it. That's one of the reasons why they established, nobody wanted to provide the insurance. Then secondly, well, it's always been, our insurer really has ended up to be FEMA, because they did not want to cover, no? Whereas in the other areas, at least up to our deductible, FEMA will help us in that, but beyond that. So,
I know it must be better to just put that premium into the self-insurance fund. I don't know, I'm just saying, I'm sure you guys are looking.
we gotta ask it now, right? Before it's,
yep.
just see what they say. I mean,
So we'll show the details, show the breakdowns, and then come out again. What are some things that we can improve on as we get in the August meeting? Here, I just want to for yourselves, no? And then secondly, some of the things we're working on as we move forward. So again, this is just again to show that yeah, we're getting closer to. It's not always going to be straight line across, but it shows you we're close to where we were before the storm. Not there yet, but we're getting closer. Next. Again, we do this just to show you that in one day with all these underground systems, in one day we recovered all these substations, no? Which helped the recovery. Other than that, it took us up to May 30, about 6 days later, before we can even get power to Orodi. Just power to Orodi, not even redundant transmission power, no? So again, it shows you the impact of, yeah.
JB, what is the mitigation when the substations have the wind-driven rain? What do you do? Do you just let it dry out, or do you have to go in there and take it apart?
Turn on the aircon and you know, if it's wet, you dry it out, but otherwise just the humidity in there,
just the
because you have
condensation.
bus bars,
Mm-hmm.
and so then you close it or whatever, and you put energy in it, they zip across, they trip the relay, no? So they don't really burn out because your relay cuts it off quickly, but so that's why when they're all down, You can. That's what happened with the one at San Victorias. We couldn't start up the hospital from there. We had to go to another alternative because that station went down and a lot of humidity. And
So,
if you this rain, this typhoon was a lot of water.
so the air conditioning systems keep the equipment at a certain temperature.
And
Once you turn it off, the humidity condensates all of that the cold equipment, and it just
Yeah,
gets moisture on it.
and again, the air conditioning also brings out moisture, no,
Right.
from the thing.
Dehumidifies
But
it.
when you shut it down, then it just builds up.
Mm.
And then when you have the typhoon, all that 100% moisture comes in. No?
You have to turn the air conditioning systems back on to dehumidify it
Yeah, and you use heaters and different things.
to
like
get the
Yeah.
equipment dry again.
Yeah.
Are
So
the
even on the
heaters
substation, that's why it's important to, what you call it. But it doesn't really take that long to do that versus outdoor type of machine.
but the equipment wasn't damaged. It just
No.
trips
Yeah.
until you
It
get
just won't allow you to close. No? So we had to feed from another underground in the north to our backfeeding system. Because we have backfeeding systems here, that's what we call the redundancies. So we can serve from another substation and so on. That's how we got the hospital back and others. No? But again, this is just to give you an idea of the thing again. The biggest thing, the combustion turbine is not coming back, Jigo. And then the other thing is Okudu. It's in the GM report. You see the damages there in the backside. I won't go through it, but you see the storage tank, the fuel tanks. That's completely what you call it, crumble or I don't know what's. Anyway, they're destroyed. No, you have to start from new and all of that. But
so none of that can be repaired. Maybe it has to be new. They have to
Yes.
bring in new steel plates and
new
just.
steel plates.
Are they going to
yeah.
replace the entire tank, or do they
Yeah.
just cut out what was damaged?
No, they're gonna start from the bottom up. Because again, why no? Because that tank you have to maintain its integrity. So if you just fix and everything, you never know whether you have a crack in my opinion, no? Yeah, a crack in the, just the bending or whatever. So it has to be, because you're holding that oil in there.
Right.
No, it has to be really. The treated water tank, maybe some of that could be worked on because you're just talking about water, no? But not the
Not the fuel tank.
not the fuel tank. Next. Again, transmission system, Sonohomis help us, and that was great because it allowed our team to work on the distribution. When you work on the distribution, you're bringing customers back. On the transmission, you're not bringing any customers on. You're just getting the flow of trucks or capacity to bring the energy up to the north. And the problem right now is that our capacity is in the south, right? And all our load is in the north. So again, next, Ardent transmission line, again, gives you an idea. We love trees on the island, but again, this is what we have to do, and I hope that we can get maybe some assistance, no legislation or whatever, or cooperation so that we can cut back trees, no? But especially in those, the dense areas that are in the jungle, Jigu, Derinu, and other areas. You go on the main road, you see the damages are not that bad, but you go into the backwoods, that's where the problems are. Weather hits everything next. Here's the truck. Again, these are the teams that help us. And again, here's the proof of the bucket trucks, 4 of them coming in at one time. No? Next. Inventory, we've always said we have about $15 million of inventory, and here it is. The concrete poles, about 265, transformers, 333. All the other critical items, as you can see, we still had inventory at the end. No? So this is one reason why I have the recovery. Next. Mitigation plans, again, what we need for energy resiliency really is more underground more underground systems, and I will present that to the commission. And again, how do we do it? It's really gonna have to be a concerted effort by everyone, from the federal entities, the federal partners, and all of that, plus ourselves. I can, as the commission has seen before, even now, we can't afford a fully underground system or anything. Oh, next. But again, we're working on seeing what those, again, I'll just mention a few as to why it's important. Because again, Guam is a very, very strategic location. The only way we're going to get more resilient is putting more systems underground. Next. What would it cost to go underground? I'll just give you a rough number. All of these details will come to you in the August report. And again, 6.4, close to, it's about total system requirement. So that, again, people are already talking out there. Here's to understand, here's the number. You have to figure out whether you can afford it or not. And if you can't afford that, can you even afford 2.4 billion? That will give us some really, item 1, 2, and 3 will be on my list as some of the more important infrastructure to get in. That will really now provide us resiliency and at least cut this recovery time down. No? And so that's about that much, and 4 million, like 6.4 for everything. So this is just a preliminary. I will give you all and work on the details plus other things that the commissioners may want to question us on. But upfront, just to let you know, we have been working now on a resiliency plan. No? And, okay. That's all I have, Commissioner. You have any other questions, maybe?
Anything, John Kim, on our finance side that you need to share?
Oh, no, most of the discussions are there, but if you want to walk through the detail, I can do that.
No, just more on make sure we're covering our debt service.
Yes, we are covering.
That's critical. And then can you, I asked this, give us the rating agency's latest findings? Each, you got the same calls, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so provide us the details on
Okay,
our meeting.
Yes.
Tell us how we're readiness and
Yes.
plan for this. Anything else, commissioners? Good. Okay, so we'll see you next Tuesday.
Yep. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you.
Meeting's 10 a.m., by the way.
Yep. 10 o'clock. Yep. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for joining us, the summer trainees. Can you just do me a favor and tell me what grade you are, what school you going to, and what is your name? How do we differentiate between, we pick these people or they just give them to us? No, I know the interns, right? Yeah. Just assign. Well, thank you very much. I hope you learned something from this. This is, we're talking about your future, by the way. Okay, when we talk about Power One. And thank these fine people here that actually do all the work. Have they seen the inside of PSCC? Yes? Thank you. That is, you've seen something that not too many people in Guam will ever have the privilege of seeing. So you take that home and you say, when there is state of the art on Guam, it is truly state of the art. A lot of people don't know how really power is distributed, and sometimes even our water here on Guam. So when you don't pay your power bill, you just go to the computer and they go like this, and you're done. Okay? But if you want your power reconnected, then just go to the computer and go like that. And you reconnect it. So, yeah, so we encourage you to study hard and hopefully replace some of these people that are sitting here today. Okay? Thank you. Okay, well, John B. That's it. We're good. Okay, we go back to work. happy liberation, by the way. Happy liberation. We're adjourned. I'll move to adjourn, Commissioner Jocko, Commissioner.
Yes, second,
Thank you.
second.